The whole process of crop production starts when a farmer decides to clear vegetations for crop production purposes. The falling of trees initiates the beginning of the crop production activity. Vegetations that are present in the land that is intended to be used for crop production are getting rid of so that crops can be cultivated on the farmland. Trees are removed from the farmland and the farmland is prepared to receive seeds. These seeds are sown in the farmland and then they start to grow. Now, when the seeds are planted, care will be given to these crops continuously until they are mature and then harvested. And this care given to these crops ranges from chemical fertilizer application, weeding of the crops, pest control, etc. This care is essential for the crops to perform well. So therefore, all the activities performed in the farm before these crops are grown, when they are sown into the soil already, till when they will be harvested and stored for use, is termed cultural practices. So cultural practices therefore are all the activities performed in the farm before, during and after planting. All the activities that are performed in the farm that prepares the crops for consumption, ranging from when the land is cultivated and prepared to receive the crops, when the crops are planted, through when the crops are harvested, is known as cultural practices. And all these activities can be broadly classified into three. There are pre-planting activities, there are planting activities, and there are post-planting activities. We shall explain this one after the other. Pre-planting activities, they are activities that are carried out in the farm before planting is done. While planting activities are activities that involve putting the seeds or the planting material on the ground, that is the sowing of seeds. All the activities performed during sowing of seed, planting of the seedlings, they are all planting activities. Post-planting activities are activities done after planting, as the word implies, post-planting, while pre-planting are done before planting. Now, the activities that are performed under pre-planting operation. The first one is choice of site. That is, before you embark on farming, you choose the site that you want to use. Under choice of farm, you consider the topography of the soil. The topography of the soil. What kind of topography? That is the slope does the soil have? Is it undulating? That is it slopey? Or is it level? These are the things to consider under choice of site. Also the type of soil. Is it fertile enough? And the availability of input. Input in terms of equipment or planting materials. If it is equipment, is it local equipment that are available to the farmer, or does he have heavy-duty machines to carry out good operations? Aside machines, also labor inputs. The amount of labor that is available to the farmer for planting purposes or for carrying out maintenance operations such as weeding, are they readily available? Does the farmer have access to hired labor, or is it just him and his family? Does he have access to equipment, heavy-duty machines that he can use to carry out tillage operation, to fall trees, cut off trees, remove vegetations? All these are the things to be considered. Before choosing a thick vegetation, the farmer must be sure to have access to equipment to carry out this operation. Aside inputs in terms of equipment, also planting materials. Planting materials, does the farmer have access to enough planting materials? That will determine the size of the farmland that he will choose to use for the farming operation. Before planting seeds, are there readily available good amount of seeds for him to use? Equipment, like I said earlier on, like pickaxe, can be used to carry out stumping operation on a small scale. Another activity under pre-planting operation is the clearing of sites. The clearing of sites. What affects the clearing of site is the type of equipment that can be used. Are there equipment such as chainsaws, tree pullers to remove vegetations? All these are to be considered. The amount of vegetation and the kind of vegetation that is available in an area will determine the equipment to use. On a small scale, the likes of pickaxe can be used to remove tree stumps. To get rid of vegetations, the farmer clears the farmland off. That is, he clears the vegetation off the farmland, he gathers them, and he carries out control burning. It depends on the scale of farming that will determine the kind of equipment that will be used. On small scale, local equipment can be used. Then the farmer gathers and carry out control burn. And if there are any leftovers, he regathers again and burn the second time. Now, aside that, sometimes after burning, the ashes that are left over, they help to improve the fertility of the soil, as these are particularly rich in lime, which increase alkalinity, which in turn increase nitrification and helps to improve the fertility of the soil and helps crops to germinate and grow better. After trees are fallen, there is a remain of the plant that needs to be removed. That underground remain, also known as stumps, needs to be removed. On a large scale, machines can be used. On a smaller scale, you see pickaxe being used, but a situation whereby the farmer have access to good equipment, sophisticated equipment such as the stump remover or the stump remover machine can be used to remove stumps. These are particularly sophisticated machines that can dig into the soil and remove the underground remains of trees. These underground remains of trees oftentimes they hinder tillage operations such as plowing, harrowing, and ridging. During tillage, if these things are not removed, they hinder tillage operation. Now, when you remove this particular equipment on a large scale, the logs of tree can be removed and disposed, but on a small scale, they are usually ignored and left to rotting after some years. Another activity under pre-planting operation is plotting and laying out. This is when a farmer decides which portion of the farmland he wants to use for a particular purpose, such as crop production, erecting of buildings, or farm animals buildings, or erecting of farm structures, erecting of farm building, and the likes. The particular area he wants to use, he maps it out. This is particularly decided after soil survey is done. This is when the experts determine where and which portion is suitable for a particular agricultural venture. The areas that are fertile will be determined. Topography is a factor that needs to be considered under plotting, as topographic area need to be avoided as they are usually prone to erosion. Unless the farmer can offset it using technology such as terracing, which helps to reduce erosion in topographic land. That is, the ability of being eroded easily is reduced during terracing. Now, farm structures will be determined. The placement will be determined during plotting and laying out. Also, in topographic areas, farm structures are usually not erected in such places. Another activity under pre-planting operation is known as tillage practices. Tillage practice can simply be defined as those activities that involves preparation of the soil, loosening of the soil to accept seeds, to make it suitable for seed germination. There are three major activities under tillage practices. There is plowing, there is harrowing, and there is ridging. This is plowing. It is the opening up of the soil surface, the turning upside down of the soil surface, where you see the soil is tilled and broken into big lumps. This can also be referred to as primary tillage. It is a situation whereby the soil is opening up into lumps. It is cut into lumps to prepare it for accepting of seeds. After tillage, after the primary tillage, also known as plowing, another operation takes place in the farm, and this operation is known as harrowing. Harrowing is a process whereby the lumps that are produced from primary tillage they are fine-tuned. They are fine-tuned, that is reduced into more tiny bits to enable the seeds to have a good condition of germination. Harrowing is performed by attaching a harrow, which is a tractor-coupled implement, to a tractor. It is dragged by a tractor, and like I said earlier on, in harrowing, those lumps that were made from primary tillage, they are further broken down into tiny pieces with the use of tractor-coupled equipment known as harrow. Aside harrowing, after harrowing, there is something known as ridging. On a small scale, the soil is gathered into mounds or pits, and this is particularly done with the use of hoes. However, on large scale, ridgers attached to tractors are usually used. However, on large scale, it is done with the use of machines. Now let's talk about the importance of tillage operations. The first one is that it encourages soil aggregation. Also, it encourages soil aeration. It is air circulation around the soil, and it encourages good water movement in the soil. Aside that, manures can be incorporated into the soil during tillage operation. That is, during tillage, manures can be added and then incorporated into the soil with the tillage machine. Lastly, it helps to improve soil physical condition. We've come to the end of this lesson. I believe you enjoyed it. I will see you in my next class. Bye bye.